perfect practice in the way of adidam is not established by means of argument, but by means of direct transmission of the divine self-condition or conscious light itself, the bright itself. As I've told you, this way begins as a seventh stage way. It is the seventh stage way from the beginning. The recognition response that is the basis for Vichura Avatara Bhakti Yoga is the recognition response to me. Here, bodily incarnate, yes, but it is the recognition of me. Appearing in this form before your eyes, but you're not recognizing me in the sense that you recognize your friend or intimate or know which house on the block or which apartment door is yours, you see. It's not about familiarity with the physical evidence of my appearing before you. It is tacit recognition of my state, my person, my nature, that which is self-revealed, being self-revealed by this means that sits here before you, which can be even retained before the view of devotees after the physical lifetime of this body, by means of murti forms that are technical recollections of my appearance while physically alive. The recognition of me that is the basis of your devotion is not identifying me as a different bodily person than someone else, so that you know what I look like and you know that I look differently than any of the other men or women in this room. Yes, of course, you recognize me in that ordinary sense, but that's not the recognition that's the basis of Ruchira Avatara Bhakti Yoga. Yes, it is this bodily human form before you that is the context of your recognition of me, your response to me, your devotion to me, your communion with me, your entering into the process of realizing me. But it is the tacit recognition of my state of person. Tacitly recognized, ultimately realized. But from the beginning, recognized, tacitly recognized. In the case of seventh stage realization, fully realized. At the beginning, tacitly recognized. That recognition response to my very nature, person, or state, or samadhi, is the basis of your devotional turning to me. It's not about some beliefs, myths, metaphors, or words, you see. It is tacit recognition of me in person, bodily, incarnated. But you tacitly feel in some unspeakable manner, not by thinking about it merely, somehow felt, like tacitly and more tangibly. That's what it means to receive me spiritually. It's a very tangible matter. But even at the beginning, just tacitly, you feel my state and respond. That's how devotion in this way is established, not through beliefs, not through finding me somehow physically interesting to look at or whatever, however you might describe it, you see. It's not recognizing me as looking different than somebody else. See, that's not the recognition of which I speak. It is the tacit recognition of my state, my samadhi, that which is revealed in this apparent, bodily manifested person. And that is your business, you see, that recognition of me. It's not my business to sell it to you. Either you are recognizing me in the sense of feeling, tacitly feeling, and identifying in some way you possibly couldn't even verbalize my state, or you aren't. If you are in some sense feeling it, that's yours to acknowledge. That's your experience. On that basis, you become my devotee. And having become my devotee, you volunteer for this response. This recognition produces a response. You volunteer for it. You live by my instruction. You enter more profoundly into this turning which becomes surrender to me, which is merely beholding me and receptive to my specific transmission of my spiritual nature and presence, which ultimately reveals my very state, which is the state, the divine self-condition. And that's the nature of the seventh stage realization of me. But it's not simply about, you see, it's not at all about cultism, of becoming a fan of mine for some conventional religious reason, you see. I don't want anything to do with that nonsense, you see. It truly has nothing to do with me. Recognition of me is this profundity, tacitly awakened merely by the sight of me, which moves you to become my devotee, and all the rest is proven by your practice of true turning to me. So the entire way is based on this tacit or wordless recognition of my state, or being attracted to my state, self-revealed without my uttering a word. All my utterances or all my doings serve this potential of the way or address issues about the way, and that's what I've done over the years. Addressed all kinds of issues about this way and all of the modes of presuming that devotees dramatized instead. Everything had to be addressed, and without any presumptions whatsoever about how it's supposed to be. No beliefs, just reality consideration. Whatever you are, whatever you're all about, examine it thoroughly, and ultimately, I make it very clear to you in that consideration what is the perspective of right practice. What does it require? What is it about? So that's what I have done, and that is finished. All the nonsense of mind, of belief, of proposition, of distraction, diversion, bondage. All of that was addressed without presupposition, without merely laying a tradition on you, a pre-made tradition onto you. You see. Nothing was presumed. Everything was considered. Everything came to a summary point. Now there's just the way. And the way depends upon, is based upon, recognition of me, devotional recognition of me, the recognition response to me, which is a tacit sense of my state. Yes. And being attracted by that. And that's how and why the sadhana or the practice of this way happens. Yes. And it makes possible the realization by divine means, which are spiritual in nature.